Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Brain Bean here again, and this video is not a video that I ever intended to make. I was actually working on a different video when, as you guys saw in the thumbnail, my computer exploded. Well, the water loop exploded at least, and I ended up living basically my nightmare for the last 24 hours or so. But it's time for a little story time, so let me walk you guys through exactly what happened. So after dinner yesterday, or I guess the day before now, I sat down, played a little bit of Overwatch, played a few rounds. I decided to spend a little time with the family, went upstairs, put my daughter to sleep, tucked her in bed, came downstairs, was gonna come into the office and finish working on my AMD Combat Crate build. And when I walked into the office, I heard this weird noise that I don't normally hear from my computer, kind of like this loud, just like So of course, immediately I turned to look at it, and it was the sound of the pump running without any water in it. And I pretty much immediately was aware of what was happening because there was water all over the desk. There was water dripping. It was all over inside the computer, but the computer was still on, so I was freaked out even more. So I did have the foresight, or I guess maybe the crazy YouTuber in me that just forgets all common sense and pulls out my phone and starts recording what's happening. You do have to forgive me though, because in my panic, I recorded it in portrait mode, which I know is like a cardinal sin when you're recording with your phone, but I wasn't really thinking right, and I'm lucky to at least gotten a little bit. So what you guys are about to see are pretty much the moments from when I found it to taking it apart and kind of getting everything back together, and then we'll kind of go from there. My loop decided to pop off and sprayed water all over my case. Luckily, actually, looks like my video card didn't get any water on it or the board or anything. I don't know how. I gotta do some damage control. The computer was still on and I wasn't in here, so I don't know when or how it happened, but let's figure out what the heck's going on. Oh shit. Okay. Oh, so you can see it, just a tiny bit of splatter got on the GPU. Hopefully my 1080 is relatively unscathed. I mean, it was still on when I went in there and found it, so. Okay, so here's where we're at. I took the computer out here from the office because I was freaking out and there's water everywhere. I mean, I was really just walking back into the office. I was gonna actually start working on my Combat Crate AMD build, and I heard this weird sound coming from my computer, and it was the pump running without any water in it. So of course I panicked, brought it out here. I'm gonna clean it up, drain the rest of the water out of the loop that's left in it. It looks like the GPU and the motherboard didn't really get any coolant on them, hardly at all. So I feel like if I dry it off okay, let it sit for a while, it'll probably be fine. It was still running, the PC was still running fine, even though all the water was out of the loop. So hopefully I dodged a bullet, but let's take it apart and see how things look. Just taking off the water block on the CPU. And then my plan is to take everything apart in one piece because the loop's not fully drained, and I just want to get it off of there so I can kind of assess what's going on. So yeah. Let's get this thing out of here. All right, so I took everything apart, was looking at things. I mean, if you look at the loop, you can see how it's a little discolored.
It's kind of chalky. Let me focus this. A little chalky. Can see it in the tubing a little bit there too. Now, a lot of that is because when I first did the build, I used a red coolant that after, I don't know, a couple of months, the color fell out of it and it started to turn like yellow. So I cleaned the loop out, drained it, and that's why you see it kind of stained the tubing. So when I just used clear after that, I didn't really think twice about it looking that color because it was stained from the red. But it turns out that there was I don't know if this is from the dye or if it's from like algae or something in there. But you can see even after I rinsed it out and was scraping it, it's gunked up. Which is probably why it popped open, because pressure backed up. So I don't know if it's the gunk from the dye, because I didn't take the block apart and clean it when all the dye fell out of that coolant. So that's why it popped open. I don't really know for sure what caused it, but luckily the motherboard only had a few small droplets. Everything on the bottom was pretty soaked, but at least, I mean, the holes for the fans, most of it just leaked out all over my desk. I'm a little bummed my ATH M50Xs were laying down on my desk and they're completely soaked. I think they're probably going to be bricked. I got the GPU just resting here. You can see there's just like a tiny bit of moisture on the back of that card, but I don't think any actually got in the GPU. I hope not. I can't really afford to buy another 1080 right now. Other than that, I'm going to take all this apart, make sure everything's good and dry. I might let it sit overnight and then try to scrounge up a case to put everything back together and maybe just use this one. I'm not sure yet. Alright guys, so here's where we're at. I let the computer dry out overnight with a box fan on it. I didn't completely take it apart because after really looking at everything, I don't think the water got anywhere, but just kind of it dripped right down in there where all those holes for the fans are. So most of it just fell right out of the case. A little bit of it kind of splattered right around here, but the motherboard didn't really seem to get any. And so what I did was I just left the box fan running to blow air through the whole thing. I have an extra all-in-one cooler here I'm going to slap on there for now. And I'm going to just put the video card back in, get the fans on there, get the all-in-one going, and we'll fire it back up and we'll see if it works. And then in maybe another week, my plan is to do a complete rebuild of the system, new case, new cooler, all that kind of stuff, and just say farewell to Project 76 altogether and just kind of start over. So let's at least get it to where it can run, and we'll turn it on and hope for the best. So there you have it, guys. I probably could have filmed a little bit more of that, but again, when your computer's got water all over it and you're panicking, you do your best, but you don't really think about it. So like I said in the clips that you guys saw, what I think happened here was I had some red dye in the loop initially, and I noticed after a couple of months, really abruptly, the dye started falling out of the coolant. So I drained the system, I flushed it a couple of times with distilled water, put some clear coolant back into it, and just decided to leave it as clear coolant for a while. What I think happened is that when that dye was falling out, I'm not sure if it was almost being filtered in the water block on the CPU or what, but it gunked up that block to the point where at some point it just stopped letting water through, or the pressure became too much and it popped off on one of the fittings. So that's what caused it to kind of explode.
Now, luckily for me, I had my video card oriented not horizontally, and I had it, spaced up like you guys saw vertically, and that actually made the video card completely avoid the spray of the water. Everything dripped straight down and actually ended up kind of going out of my case from where the fans are. So it was like best case scenario for this to happen. I know a lot of people like on Twitter and on Facebook saw me posting pictures of this happening or saying, that's why I'll never water cool, never do custom loops. That's an inherent risk that everyone going into building a custom loop should know that it's a possibility. A lot of us that do custom loops and people that are real enthusiasts when it comes to water cooling know that that's a thing that can and sometimes will happen to you. Of course, we use non-conductive fluid, but over time it loses that property, and you just do the best you can. Obviously, you don't want water exploding in your computer. So where my build's at right now is I kind of salvaged everything. I threw an all-in-one cooler on there for now. I am working on doing a new build probably in about a week or so. We're gonna just retire old Project 76, send it off, give it a hero's farewell, and work on doing a new build. So you guys can look forward to that. I am working on the AMD Combat Crate build actually right now, taking a break from that to record this and kind of show you guys what was going on. But let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about this. What's your thoughts on custom loop water cooling on? I definitely think I dodged a bullet on this one, and I'm so relieved because I have a mountain of content to produce this month and some very cool, probably the most exciting, well, definitely the most exciting thing that's ever happened on my channel is coming up, but I can't talk about it just yet. So I really hope you guys stay tuned for that because I can't wait to talk about it. It's gonna be awesome. But anyways, guys, if you're water cooling, stay safe out there. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it to show your support. And if you're new here and you just clicked on the video to see someone's hopes and dreams be crushed when their computer exploded, I hope you stick around to click that subscribe button because I've got a lot more PC related content and reviews coming in the near future. You can also follow me on Twitter at BrainBeanGaming, but as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.